No, we're gonna do Sunday Bloody Sunday for the request for the sound guy. Thanks for helping us out tonight. It was a crazy one, but we were able to pull it off. Well, I can't believe the news today. Well, I can't close my eyes and make it go away. How long must we sing this song? How long? Well, tonight we can be as one tonight. Broken bottles on the children's feet, bodies thrown across that dead-end street. But I won't heed the battle call. It puts my back up against the wall. Sunday, bloody Sunday. Sunday, bloody Sunday. Sunday, bloody Sunday. Sunday, bloody Sunday. Oh, all right, you go. And the battle's just begun. There's many lost, but tell me who has won. That trench is dug within our hearts, and mothers, children, brothers, sisters torn apart. Sunday, bloody Sunday. Sunday, bloody Sunday. How long must we sing this song? Well, tonight we can be as one tonight. Sunday, bloody Sunday. Sunday, bloody Sunday. Come on. Yes, true, we are immune when fact and fiction and TV reality. And today the millions cry, we eat and drink, but tomorrow they die. And the battle's just begun. To win the victory Jesus won. Sunday, bloody Sunday.
It's lunchtime and the Brooklyn Cafe is open for business. Live from the Amp Media Studios, Dawn and Freddie S. and their team are ready to serve up a huge portion of fun for lunch with friends and neighbors. So let's break open that lunch pail and unwrap that sandwich you brought and take a front row seat in the Brooklyn Cafe and get ready to enjoy some humor and hot topics. It's time to get a healthy serving of hope and happiness to help your day go by with a smile. Your hosts, Dawn and Freddie S., are ready to talk about food, health, dating, or just plain dream making. If you have a story to share, movie review, restaurant critique, or just a coincidental thing that happened to you, call in toll free 888-994-4995, Studio A right now. Sit back and enjoy your lunch break at the Brooklyn Cafe. Here are your hosts, Dawn and Freddie S.
Welcome to the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Freddie has turned into a beautiful black woman. So I am replaced. He is replaced.
Here you go, by the magic of TV and the little singing spider. We are 2 weeks away. We're 2 weeks away from Halloween, everyone. So happy Monday to you. Give us a call, 888-994-4995, Studio A. We are kicking off. I cannot believe it's October 17th, middle of October, Halloween.
This month went by so fast. Like,
We still have a half left to go.
I'm like, oh my God, my papers are due. And I'm just like,
It's
wow.
midterms.
Wow.
Definitely
Need a
midterms.
break.
I was on the phone with a Zoom call with someone today, and they said, I can see your shoulders. You must be in Florida. Because they used to tease me, my clothes never change throughout the entire year because the temperature is always the same in here.
Yeah,
and they're in sweaters and scarves, and it's cold everywhere already.
Yeah, I know. I always I'm always prepared. Long sleeve every day, even though it's hot. And I'm like, it's okay. And I know I don't have AC in my car, so it's just just torturing myself slowly.
We keep it a little cold in here, but it's fall everywhere else. I mean, people are turning on their heat. It's going to be 30 degrees in some places. They're expecting snow, and we're here in Florida. I know we have, hurricane season, but when it's beautiful here, that's when we've got from like October until May that it's truly beautiful, and then the rest of the time it gets a little warm. So
I know in Okeechobee it gets around gets below maybe 50.
You guys get no breeze from the beach, though.
What beach?
You get.
The lake? There's no beaches in Okeechobee.
You get nothing. You have a nice weekend?
Oh yeah, I what did I do? It was my 1-year anniversary with my boyfriend.
Happy anniversary.
You know what? He stayed. He got me a makeup palette, some other gifts that I can't remember right now. He gave me a little squishmallow that I'm currently squishing for stress.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
That little blue thing?
He was
What
like,
is that thing?
you stress too much. It's a stress ball.
And what did you get for him?
I got him a little album thing. A little album says Life is Music or something. And then I got him some posters of Fight Club and some boxing that he likes.
And wasn't he going to come in here and do some music or something? What happened to that?
What happened? I'm talking to you. What happened?
We now have 2 music shows.
He wants to come in, but he's so busy with work now and school. He's going back to school for EMT and firefighting. So he's a lot on his plate, a lot. So.
Very, very nice. Well, hopefully soon.
Yeah, hopefully. Make time.
We went to a great event on Friday night. We went to the J.D. Danner concert, and she is just so incredible. She's going to be joining us probably next week. We're going to hook her up on Cafe Night Train. And one of the greatest things I love that we get to do here, it's not always seeing the after, the published, the film, the video, the perfect commercials. It's seeing people's stories to why they do what they do and their journey of getting there. And she was one of these reasons why I do what I do here, is to see her in her truth and her authenticity and just walk her walk and doesn't care what anybody thinks of her.
Yeah.
And she expresses it through her music, which is amazing.
You can see that when she's performing as well. I just like her music as well. When she performed here last time, I was like, wow, who is this lady?
I know,
Who
right?
is this? Do I know her? She looks familiar.
Like my kids would say, Mom, that's not your music. It's kind of rock. And she plays the guitar, and her bass player we were at Arts Garage. He had his fan full blast, and he's like Aerosmith, and his hair was blowing in the wind, and people were walking by, and all you could see was his hair blowing everywhere. Wow. So theoretically, I would not traditionally go to something like that. Yeah, look who's on set. Look who's not on set, by the way.
You've been replaced by a beautiful black woman.
You have the refrigerator from the depths of the earth, Freddie, is all I can say.
Look who's on set.
But it was a great show, and she's going to be joining us, hopefully doing Cafe Night Train tonight. We have, oh my gosh, 3 new shows lined up for you here tonight. 6 o'clock, we've got your
Making
show.
money with Laura Sanders. There you
Money
go.
with Laura Sanders at 6 o'clock, talking about how to make money in real estate, investing, how to save money when you buy properties, and how real estate is always a great investment. And she talks about how, in hindsight, if you had bought at whatever point, I was watching something the other day, and you guys might relate to this. These people bought their first house for $30,000.
Wow. I'm excited for her show.
Now,
Old, but not that old.
so she was probably in her 80s, and she said she and her husband bought their first house for $30,000. And no matter which way you look at it, it definitely appreciated in value. It may not be worth $3 million, but it's definitely worth more than the $30,000 that they bought it for. So that'll be an interesting show at 6:30 tonight. We have All County Television Network with All County Healthcare. At 7 o'clock tonight, I've got so many new shows, my head is spinning. We've got Moksha Grace Consulting and Coaching, talking about how things align and being grateful for what you have and looking for the positivity in life. And then at 7:30, we've got Mondays Music with Mia, a concert pianist. And actually, we've got a VIP room we're setting up in the other room with some wine, some new sponsors,
A little
some
piano.
a little piano.
I've heard her play. She is amazing. Like, she almost put me to sleep, and that's amazing that she can put me to sleep, because it's hard to put me to
And
sleep.
when people are that talented, you think, that's what we talked about this morning. When you know you're great at something or good at something, going to be great, like piano, art, drawing, music, you can say, I am great. Like Sally is amazing at art. When you do what we do, I think, does anyone go, I am great at talking? But I know I am great at connecting people. That I know I'm good at.
Yeah.
I have to say that I'm great at painting.
You are great at painting.
And hopefully communicating too. I
You are
think.
definitely great at painting. And Lynn is great at helping bring people's stories out into life. So I'm thinking about, what are people like truly great at, and do they love it? What do you think you're great at?
God, that is so hard to think about, because I do a lot of things.
But you're young to even have this conversation. But is there anything that you say, I'm great at?
I'm great at, I guess, problem solving or figuring. I'm just great at figuring out things for myself. Like, okay, if there's always going to be a solution to something, so I'm gonna figure it out. Like, my dad always told me, figure it out. He didn't give me the answer.
That's good.
Figure it out. I'm like, okay, but it taught me how to figure it out for myself and not to like rely on people, and just to do what I got to do to literally continue.
Josh, what are you great at?
Yep, that is
Everything,
that is
really?
a great answer. Great answer. Nothing.
Katie, how about you?
Katie's great at
She's
being
going to
Katie.
say, what? Katie, what are you great at?
I am. Wait, can
Bam?
you repeat the question?
Katie
Can you
is
repeat the
great at
question?
being Katie.
I'm
Nabil,
great at spreading positivity.
Spreading positivity.
Positivity.
There
That
you
she
go.
does. She actually had some people commenting on her show over the weekend on her stress lesson, Decompress with Katie, on spreading
Yep, a fan.
awareness for mental health.
Oh.
So that is definitely, congratulations. It was a whole long, people put in their link and they wanted you to reach out to them. So it's definitely resonating. And Nabil, what are you great at? You know, I can't hear from the other
I
side of the
know.
studio.
The silence. He's quiet. Drawing.
Really? How come we've never seen anything he's drawn? That's what's the funny thing about when they come in here. They come in here for something, but they're really good at all of this.
Right.
But unless we ask them,
They don't volunteer.
they don't
No.
show us what else they're really good at.
Like, I know I'm good at painting.
There you
But
go.
No painting. Josh
Uh-oh.
came in, we thought, for music, but yet he does everything really well. Animation, music, production. Katie came in making literally these labels you see for our art that's for sale. And she's great at social media. She's great at everything. We have an amazing crew.
We try. We try.
But I'm excited. We've got a great day lined up for you today. We've got Lynn Everard, and he's going to be talking about the why of why Freddie and I do what we do, which is really interesting that we're going to be doing this without Freddie here.
It's
So
okay.
we're going to see why we do what we do, and we've got Sally Bernard, host of Call Me Zena, in the studio, and she's talking about her book. So maybe we'll start with Sally, and maybe Freddie will get here by that point. And then we've got Susan Forma joining us, a longtime friend of us, talking about how to make money even through COVID. There are still relief funds available that people don't know about. So that'll be interesting, and she'll be joining us. She came to us doing face yoga. You know how our necks sort of sag as we get older? You can do yoga for your body.
Why wasn't I here for this? When was this?
We're going to do it today.
Oh,
we
okay,
can do yoga for your face. You can tighten your cheeks and make all these funky faces.
I know you have to do like some movement like this and like going like this, so all your wrinkles will just not go away, but they tighten back and go down more.
Look at your beautiful skin. Yeah, Fabio was on the set. Exactly. I can see your refrigerator still is not fixed if you're still texting. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break, thank our sponsors, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Sally, we're going to talk to Lynn, Susan will be here, and Bree's joining us on set. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Planning for the future should not be painful and needs to be discussed. From health, family, finances, allow qualified professionals to aid in your planning. Luhu Advisors have been serving South Florida for over 30 years. A licensed real estate broker, insurance agent, assisted living administrator, and certified senior advisor, Paul Solomon is the most qualified and well-rounded advisor for any task. Specializing in real estate, long-term care, life insurance and annuities, Social Security, government benefits, and senior housing, Luhu Advisors. Let us help you. Known for his Art Deco Cubist style and compositions with dancing saturated color, Ken Bieberman has lived and breathed art his whole life. From the early 80s, he's influenced the Art Deco district of Miami Beach. Featured in numerous restoration projects, hotels, galleries, and clubs, Bieberman creates for everyday folks and celebrity clientele. He's also the proprietor of Art Repro, a giclée and scanning company in Pompano Beach. When it comes to scanning high resolution, size is not an issue. Professionally scanning art up to 10 feet and 64 inches in width, Art Repro utilizes state-of-the-art equipment. On quality canvas or paper, archival ink and printing mediums are put to use. Art Repro ensures colors are true and every nuance of the art is captured, including the canvas weave. Perfection is the priority. Contact artist Ken Bieberman today at 954-547-0095 or visit his website www.artrepro.net.
Being a successful woman in business means having the courage to own who you are. We understand the challenges faced by women, and we are here to help. Our team is here to develop the best strategy designed just for you. Your path is unique, and with the right tools, you can accomplish your dream. From radio to TV, from podcasting to magazines, we create the visibility to amplify your impact in business. At New Dawn Media, we are here to help bring your message forward and help your business flourish. It is time for your message to be seen and your voice to be heard. Contact us at 866-224-5422 or brooklyncafe.tv. Your voice can make a difference.
Le Sorel Restaurant, home of the authentic Italian tradition, offers a large menu that consists of seafood, steak, homemade pasta, brick oven pizza, and homemade desserts including a wide wine selection. We also have the best bar in Boca Raton with delicious cocktails, homemade limoncello, cappuccino, Italian espresso, brandy, and other specialties. Open every day with a lunch and dinner menu. For more information or to make a reservation, contact lesorelrestaurant.com or call 561-235-5301.
You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
get him a little bell for his a wrist bell.
A wrist bell, and we are back. Welcome back, everyone. Happy Monday. Give us a call, 888-994-4995, Studio A. We've got Sally Bernard, host of Call Me Zena. Her show is today at 3. You definitely want to call in and ask her questions of what's going on. We already have people coming out to ask questions.
No. I wanted to do a quick shout out. I'm gonna come up here real quick.
Do a quick shout out.
Student loan forgiveness. You can apply now for it. By the way.
Thanks.
So quick shout out on that.
Thank
Do
you.
we
Alex.
know where?
Financial aid?
Federalstudentaid.com or .gov,
You know
whatever
there's
it
a
is.
camera there.
I'm not
But we're on
board, though.
autopilot.
Katie.
The plane is flying itself.
I
What do we
guess
think
I
the
gotta
link
switch it
is?
over. It's federalstudentaid.gov. I think that's what it is. Where you just pay your normal student aid.
I get it.
But once you go there, you can find your. Once you go there, you can find your. I think it's called the one-time student loan or student loan forgiveness thing. You can apply now.
Did you apply yet?
Yeah, I just applied.
I'm gonna
You pay
apply
your
after
phone
this.
number and everything, Social Security, and that's all you got to do.
That's it? No reason, no nothing?
There's nothing.
Wow.
And do you have to be in a certain year or something? Like, I know there was giving...
I'm pretty sure you have to have your student loans like already set for you to be paying.
I do.
Oh, okay. And you can probably apply right now.
I do.
What is it, up to $10,000, they say?
Up to 10,000, and on the Pell Grants, I think it's up to 20,000.
What is the difference between a Pell Grant and a regular student loan? Do anyone know?
So Pell Grant is what they give you, like financial aid gives you, and then the student loan is the student loan that you're borrowing from the government that you have to pay back.
But isn't a Pell Grant then financial aid that's given, or you have to pay it back?
Pell Grant is given. I don't know why.
You got to pay it back.
You-
I got $5,000 in Pell Grants, I think.
So can you double dip? Can you get $5,000 in
Hopefully.
Pell Grant and $10,000 in student
Well, I'm
loan?
hoping they can just pay for my student loans, and all I got to do is the Pell Grant.
Better
That would
interest
be
rate?
nice.
What?
That would be nice.
But you get an extra 10,000.
I'm baffled right now.
Wow,
'cause
see
I
that?
have both.
Check
I
it
got
out.
both too.
I got to tell you, it's definitely something that we got to work out in this country. All right, check it out. Go to where you submit your student loan and payments. Put in your name, social security number. Apparently, it is open today. I would say get in early because
Now.
even when they say you have till January, they're going to run out of money like they always do, and it usually closes out. And they go, "Oh, sorry, we thought we'd have enough, and we don't."
Financial
And they
aid is
don't.
open as well for people that are attending college, which I already did my financial aid. So that's already out of the way. Now I got to do this other thing so I can. Jesus, I have so much money to pay back.
I know, it's really hard. So we're going to head over to Sally and Lynn. And, you know, Sally, I know some of your past and the things that we've talked about. And I look back at all these things, and I think if you knew then what you know now,
Okay.
would you change things?
Probably, yes.
You would?
Yes, absolutely. But, you know, it's always in hindsight, you know, where I am now, obviously my whole life in the beginning, if I had known what I'd known, I would have taken a different path. But I'm catching up now. I'm where I want to be. I have to tell you that I really just noticed that wand and my painting. Oh my gosh, the wand
That's
and the
what
white.
I'm saying.
I know. It's incredible. It's exactly the same. And that's a long time before I even knew you. Look at that.
That is
Matching
what
with the
I am
painting.
saying.
I know. I knew that, but I never really, because I don't know what I paint. And I'm saying, oh, that's right. Yeah, that's my painting. I know it's my painting.
It's
oh, my
amazing,
goodness.
right? So when you brought it here, I
Yes.
didn't even realize it. It was up on an easel one day. I
Yes.
think I was sitting where Lynn is now, and I looked across the studio, and I said, holy cow,
Yes.
my wand is in here. And the thing that happens is I always end up buying the paintings that are in the studio. And my house, you've seen my house, right?
Yes, full of
Nothing in my
paintings.
house, there's no theme. I just
It's-
buy what I like, and I hang it where there's an open wall.
Right.
Like,
But it is for sale. But I'll give you a very good
Don's
price.
house is
too.
an open gallery.
Freddie says to me, you can't keep taking all the good art from here. You have to leave it. So I said, I'm sure Sally has more.
But actually, that's an interesting story, too, because when you told me when I first came down here and you were talking to me, you had seen one of my paintings, a couple of...
The
but I-
trees, yep, and
Yes,
those are up
yes,
there. With a
yes.
whole tree in nature's selection. I see we
Right.
put all the trees
Right.
together.
Right.
Yeah.
So what would you
Whoa.
change? What you know now? I know, crazy.
I would have changed the way I had lived my life, I think, because I'm really in touch with a lot of things today. I was also, I don't really know. I guess I need to give that some thought. I would have still come to America from London. I love this country. Just, I do need to say that. On my third marriage, I might have only had one. I don't know. Not
You know, it's funny because I've asked people who've gotten divorced, would you have changed anything? I would not have married that person. But if you have children, then I feel like that's your silver lining, and that's Lynn, your why as to of that.
There's always a reason, yes. In fact, I said that one time in front of my son, and he looked at me. He said, well, had you have not married Dad, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, you're right. But I don't know. He might have been. I don't know.
Right, that same person wouldn't be here. So
Yes.
sometimes I feel
Well,
like we may
believe-
want to change then, but there are certain things probably living in this community that I tolerated for a lot of years that I would not have even tolerated for those years.
I think everybody has a path, and depending on the path you take, is this your life will go this way or that way. I've always thought like, okay, if I'm gonna take this path, this is gonna happen. If I take this path, this is gonna happen. So I always thought, okay, this is gonna be my life. What path am I gonna take? So I always thought like, if it's the right path for me, and if it's for me, then I'm on the right path. So coming here or being in college, those are paths I took before I didn't even know I was going to attend college. I was going to join the military. Can you imagine me in the military? No. But it was a path I was willing to take, but I knew that it wasn't for me. So I had to go through the journey of like, you know, the little, I say like, you know, the will, just thinking about what you're going to do with the rest of your life. So I decided to go to college and then pursue what I knew that I was good at, which was media and photography.
Well, that's a lot of what I do talk about on the show, actually, because if you go with your gut, you're feeling happy. If you go against that, you kind of, it takes a while, and you're not feeling as content. When you're doing what you're doing, you kind of know.
Even in college, when I took, I was business administration. Because I was still following what my dad was saying, like, oh, yeah, do this. And I'm like, I don't know. But I did it anyways. But I knew I had to opt out of it. I had to get out of it. And my path led here. And I don't know where it's going to go next. So I'm kind of happy about that.
Finding your why. And then I was talking to Lynn. We're going to bring Lynn into this conversation. And it looks like Freddie is not going to make it back. So we're going to go into, the whys of the whys of why we do what we do. But it's bigger than the whys. You know, when people say, what's your why? What gets you out of bed? This is not what gets me out of bed. But this is really interesting in everything we put together. And I think you're going to be, Sally, you did yours also?
I did, yes. Yeah.
But it makes a whole lot of sense. And now as I go through my day, I understand exactly what I try to do. And my kids always will tease me. Mom always has an oar. I'm always rowing a boat, they say. Because I'll say, okay, we can do it this way, or we can do it this way, or we can do it this way. What's the better way? And any way is going to be fine.
Well, I'm waiting to hear the outcome. You have.
But that's how I always do things. There's always a choice to me. They may not all be like the best choices, but they're all going to be good choices depending on what people want to do. And then they'll just say, make up your mind. And clearly, based on my why, I cannot. It's like, go to Amazon for me, and it's like, ooh, too many choices. Give me 2 or 3. Amazon, to me, online shopping is too overwhelming for me to, like a big menu, I get through the appetizers and I'm good. But it makes a whole lot of sense now that you showed me my why. So what is this, I don't want to say test, but this link that Freddie and I went through?
Yeah, so it's and it's not a test. We actually call it a discovery.
Okay.
Because you're discovering aspects of yourself. If I can use an example in the world today. So, you know how a lot of people, whether they're in business relationships or romantic relationships or friendships, they often really struggle with being able to understand each other and have an effective level of communication. And, you know, they're trying to figure it out. And then it's, when you really stop and think about it, it's so overwhelming because there's so many different ways you could approach it. And what people really need is a place to start. And the place to start is doing what we call the why discovery. Because when you do the why discovery, and there, by the way, there are 9 whys. Everybody has one. Even if you don't know what yours is, you still have it. And the 9 whys are basically ranked through the algorithm of the discovery process on the website. And then you get your results, or I get your results, and then I don't have people get their results up front until I'm able to sit with them and help them understand what it means. Because until you understand what it means, you're going to apply your own meaning of the words you think you are seeing on the page.
Well,
And
why, no pun intended, is this important?
And it's important because, excuse me, it's really important because when you understand your why, you understand what motivates you, what really, really gets you out of bed every day. And your why is your purpose until you find a calling. Now, not everybody has a specific calling. When you discover a calling, then the why, the how, and the what, which is your why operating system, they become how you execute your calling, how you fulfill your calling in life. But until you have that, and you always have this first, this is it, when people go through this and they say, wow, that's me, like for you, Don, you're a better way. So if you went back through your entire life, you would see so many places, like you just talked about in your present life. But if you went back into your life, you would see so many instances of where being a better way is actually what has driven much of your life, right? You're always looking for a better way to do things. And, you know, for Freddie, his why is challenge.
Which is so out of the box, right? There's no one more out of the box than Freddie.
Right, right. And then your way of doing things, your how, is challenge. So you want to reach a better way, but you're doing that through challenging the status quo and thinking differently than other people. Freddie starts at challenging the status quo, and then for him, his how is to make sense. So he challenges things, but then he's got to somehow bring it back to make sense for himself. For you, you start with the better way, and you realize to get to the better way, you need to challenge the way things are. And then what you arrive at, the result you have, or what we call what you can count on me for, what other people can count on you for, is for you, it's mastery. And again, mastery is not what people think it is, and that's why it's so important that I go through the process with them, because most people think mastery means, I got it all figured out, I'm an expert, there's nothing you can tell me about this. But when the true definition of mastery as we have it at the Y Institute, mastery means I'm continuing to work on my craft. I'm continuing to get better at it, and I'm not done yet. You could, an artist who is a mastery on some level, if you ask them, how's the art going? They could have been painting for 40 years, and what they would tell you is, well, I think I'm starting to get the hang of this now. Even if they have work in every major gallery up and down the east and west coast of the U.S., a mastery will still be thinking they're just getting started and they're just learning how to do it.
It's been great to see the differences on how we work together.
Yeah.
And a lot of Freddie's was trust.
Yeah, so Freddie,
which is really interesting.
His what, where he gets to is trust. So it's really important for him. Yes, he challenges things. Yes, he has to make sense of things. But ultimately, he's about creating relationships based on trust. So when you understand these things about each other, you're able to communicate with each other in a way that completely changes maybe how you've been communicating before. And, for him to know that you're a better way, so he can talk to you in your language, which means, let's say he wants to talk about something in your business. So if he says to you, you know, Dawn, I think there might be a better way to do this. I don't know what it is, but maybe working together, we can challenge things and get to the better way. Well, he's going to have your attention all day long with that,
Right.
right? Because that's where you live, because that's what you're about. And the same thing with him, because you know that challenge is how he does things. You know, you can say to him, you know what? We know that we can look at things differently. We know that we can challenge the status quo. And your whys are different, but they work so well together because you both want to challenge things and you both want the result of the challenge to be a better way.
You know what I found so interesting is when we have a new client come in, and we have Susan Forma, who we've known for such a long time, is we'll sit back there in the studio and we'll sit and have a conversation. The crew will know. He may sit there for 3 hours and have one conversation. I will get up 30 times in those 3 hours and do 30, probably 5 different things. From running the board to giving a name, to looking at a commercial, to making whatever it is. And he sits right there until the conversation is done. And I'll tease him, are you ever getting up? And he says, no, I'm listening to what they have to say. Mm-hmm. So to me, I never understood why he would not get out of that chair.
Yeah.
And he'll sit there for hours. But now it makes sense because he's there to build this trusting relationship. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking to find a better way to get everything else done here, and then I'll go in and I'll finish up the conversation, because when it's time for me to go the better way, here's the contract, here's what we're going to do, he then gets out of his seat, because then he has built this relationship of trust. So instead of me teasing him, which I will anyway, but it makes sense now as to why he does not get up during these conversations.
Right. And we when we did your explanation of things, one of the things we talked about was the fact that his work is in creating the trust relationships with people, and then your work is bringing in the mastery or the excellence into the process. So that way you create something together that neither one of you would have done on your own.
Right.
And been that complete with it. Within business organizations, typically there needs to be certain elements of these whys in order for a company to be truly effective. Trust is very important. Simplicity is very important. Getting to the level of being able to simplify things, because if we don't simplify things, nobody can take the marching orders and do anything with them, because now they're all going to be in their head and not know what to do. So part of your work in mastery is also being very clear about the direction that you're giving. You say, we're going to do it a better way, and we need to do it this way. And then everybody says, oh, okay, now we know what you want us to do.
It's 100% true. For the longest time, we had a camera here that worked on battery, and the battery always died within an hour, and it was making me crazy that I couldn't have a guest. And Freddie was like, it's okay. I'm like, no, we need to get another camera that does not work on battery. So I had to go through that process of there's a better way. We wanted a set and the mastery of, all right, we're going to invest in more equipment. But that's exactly where I am. So it makes a whole lot of sense. And they probably see it, I think.
Yes, I do see it. I was like, wow, this makes all sense. I want to take this test now with my partner to see how we communicate and how we build on each other. So it's very interesting because I see the challenges and the solutions you guys have. I want to see with my partner and see how we correlate and how we get things done. Because I know me, I'm like, okay, I got to go do this. I got to do that. And he's like, chill, relax, take a seat. I'm like, no, I got to go. I'm always on the run. And he's like, relax, you do it later. I'm like, I can't do it later. I need to do it now or it's not going to get done.
But we can do this in business, and that's part of what we want to share, right? So your employees, you, Josh, Katie, can sit and take this test. And
Right.
Why is this important?
So it's important because everybody gets to know how to deal with everybody else. When you talk to someone, if you don't know what's important to them, it's hard to hold their attention.
True.
Right? And you won't get your message across if they don't feel like you're talking to them. But if you understand their why, like now, everybody who's hearing this knows that you're a better way. So now if they come to you with something, what they're going to understand is, oh, if I want to approach Dawn with something, I have to make it about that the result somehow or some aspect of it is we're going to be able to do things in a better way. Why? Because she'll get your attention, right? If it was just a matter of, oh, we have to do it this way, but we're going to keep it all the same, you'd be like, yeah, talk to me in about 6 months. Maybe I'll have time.
Yeah, nothing, you can't keep it, in my mind, nothing can stay the same in this space because it has to evolve. Sally?
I have a question. I was in sales for 22 years. I think we did talk a little bit about this. That has to help people in sales because you have to get to know the other person. You may not know their why, but you know your why. So by talking to them, you'll come out with some of the questions by feeling them out. You know what you're going to say that does help in sales, I guess. It's not just, I see how it can definitely work for couples too, and for business relationships,
Right.
anybody that has a relationship. I can't wait to hear mine.
I can't wait to hear mine too. 'Cause it's very interesting.
I'm nearly there because I finished all the questions, right?
Yeah, well, so
Yeah.
I have your results. Now I'm going to
But I don't know if we should
go
add
through
them,
them with you.
Sally, do you have any thoughts on what your why is?
I don't really know, but I know what I did while I was doing it, and I mentioned this to Lynn too. My first reaction on some of them, because I have had questionnaires being in sales, you know, when they're going to employ you, that I want to do it the way that I think it should be said. But then I said to myself, no, I have to go with who I really am. I have to be very, very truthful about this because I kind of know, being in sales for so many years, what someone might want to hear. But that's ridiculous. That's not going to help me too.
Right.
So I said, I stopped for a minute and said, no, which is the way that I would really see this? And hopefully, it turned out good.
Lynn, how can people reach you to get their link? Their
So
discovery?
they can reach me at leverard@lynneverard.com. And for your viewers and listeners, I'm offering a 10% discount on the service. And what they will get is the why discovery process. I will explain to them what it means for them and their partner, their boyfriend, girlfriend, and this works with families too. If you have a teen that you're concerned about, maybe you're just not getting your love message across to them because you don't know their why and you don't know how to communicate in their language. In addition, it's nice to know your why, but if you don't actually start to live it and bring it into your life and integrate it, you'll be like the person who went shopping and saw that thing they just had to have, and it's a year later and it's still hanging in the closet and they haven't worn it. And I don't want people to have that experience with this. So I also have a follow-up that's part of the price that I charge for 30 days to help people get deeper into knowing how to actually work with this and use it in their lives. Because if you don't use it, it's just another word, another label that goes nowhere.
It's very interesting. And we're going to take a commercial break. It's interesting to see the love languages. And I had said to you, the 5 love languages. If your love language is not touch and your partner is touching and kissing you and caressing you all the time and you're like, get away, then clearly there's not a connection. They're laughing, but it's true, right? It's like, it may be great for you, but don't touch me.
Yeah.
This is great for business, especially in relationships, because it's not about love languages. It's about how you, Josh, communicate. So it'd be interesting to see our kids who think they're not good at communicators. They are. They all have to be good at communicators if they're here and you're sitting here. So clearly that's, in everyone's head. So I think this is a great opportunity. So check this out. Give Lynn a call. You're going to stay with us?
Yeah, I can stay with you.
All right,
And
Lindsay.
one more thing, and that is that when you contact me, use the words Cafe 10.
Okay.
And that way I'll know that you came from the show and I'll be able to give you your discount.
All right, Cafe 10, more to come. We got Susan Forma joining us. We're going to see how, again, to make some money after this pandemic. There still are options for you. Give us a call, 888-994-4995. See what your why is. Studio A, and we'll be right back.
When it comes to investigative services, you can't settle for inattentive or irresponsible services. PI Network of Florida is a firm that you can rely on for actionable insight for personal or professional matters. From surveillance and insurance claims to background checks and identity theft, the investigative services are extensive. With over 30 years experience and 2 decades of serving the community, PI Network of Florida is trustworthy and reliable. Call today at 786-768-4394. Trust your gut. Trust PI Network of Florida.
Born in Marseille, France, Max Lazega creates whimsical and free-flowing interpretive art. His 40 years in the construction industry created the foundation for his craft. His unique work displays his view of the future with bold and playful combinations of materials and processes, but the methodology remains consistent. He fuses recycled materials and discarded building supplies into a fresh, well-executed approach. Lazega has lived in Miami, Florida most of his life, where he pursues his lifelong passion of creating industrial art. For more information, contact Max Lazega at artworkstudios.org or 786-326-8873.
Meet Jay Harmon, one of the many artists held in the Brooklyn Cafe Gallery. Jay specializes in various different art styles, but his medium to work with is colored pencils. His unique style comes from being self-taught and years of practice. Jay pulls his inspiration from many outlets like people, television, celebrities, and many more. With multiple original pieces, Jay's art graces the gallery with over 40 plus works for viewing and for purchase. His many years of being an artist has given him a chance to partner with the Derwent brand, giving him the opportunity to try many different work styles and further his craft. Feel free to come on down and visit the studio to view his work, or if you're interested in your own Jay Harmon original, he's open to commissions on his website, coloredpencilartist.com, or catch his show, The Colored Pencil Artist, on Amp Media Productions on YouTube and Facebook. See you soon.
What would you do if you had a broken bone? You'd go to the doctor and use your insurance, right? What would you do if you had a serious problem with drugs and alcohol? Most people do nothing until it's too late. Your insurance can help you get clean and sober with the assistance of a place like the Detox and Treatment Helpline. Many times treatment is fully covered, so why not use your insurance to treat your addiction problem just like you would if you had a broken bone? And with the Family Medical Leave Act, you're allowed by law to take off time from work, and your employer doesn't need to know the reason. So there are 2 good reasons. You've got insurance you can use for your addiction problem, and with the Family Medical Leave Act, it's completely confidential. Call us right now and save a life.
Call 855-350-4504. That's 855-350-4504. Call 855-350-4504 now.
If your family is suffering from inflation and high costs caused by Lois Frankel's reckless policies, Republican Dan Franzese is clearly your best choice for Congress. Dan is a successful businessman who understands finance and economics. He's not a politician. Dan grew up blue collar and knows how tough inflation is on working families. Dan Franzese will go to Washington and fight the liberals who are killing us with inflation. Dan Franzese for Congress.
I'm Dan Franzese, and I approve this message.
Artist Rosie Sherman paints her passions to share with everyone. Expressing herself through bold and vibrant colors, her suggestion and style are always in flux. Inspired by travels, nature, romance, and the human spirit, Rosie makes sure her depiction of women are strong and proud. Her landscapes illustrate the changing seasons in the diverse world that we live in. To find her artwork in the multiple medias you can purchase, visit rosiesherman.pixels.com.
You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
You see it driving nails in the soul of the tree of pain. From a firefly, they come a red-orange glow. We'll see the face so fishy running, scared in the valley below. The blue sky, only the blue sky, only the blue sky, only the blue sky, only the blue, only the blue. In the locust wind, they come a rattling home. The Jacobus of the angel, but those angels will overcome. You plant a demon seed, you raise a flower. You see them burning crosses, you see that flame go higher than a higher than a higher. Hey. Woo. Yeah, pull in the blue. Oh, 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 lovely, lovely Boca Raton. I can remember driving up here, skipping school and surfing the pier. I love those days, you know, driving that beach, top down, wind blowing in the hair. Oh yeah, but I can remember this song coming on the radio, kind of stuck in my head. Went a little something like this. Red skies at night, red skies at night. Oh, red skies at night, red skies at night. You know, this guy comes up to me, his face red like a rose on a thorn bush, and all the colors of a royal flush. And he's peeling off those bills and he's slapping them down. 100, 200. And I could see them fighter planes. Yeah, man, I could see them fighter planes. Across the mud huts where the children sleep. In the alleys in the quiet city street. You take the staircase to the first floor. You turn that key and you slowly unlock the door. Man breathes in a saxophone. And through the walls you can hear the city groan. And outside it's America. Outside it's America. Outside it's America. Oh, I wanna live in America.
And he's back.
And the magic of TV, I'm back.
Poof.
I've come in from the vertigo.
What's a fairy tale?
vertigo.
You know, and then they appear.
Well, you know, sometimes you got to make a move because they tell you if you don't come now, you won't see me for a week or two. A week or two. No. So I went home and I got the fridge fixed.
Well, welcome back. We went over our wives with Lynn. We've got Sally joining us, and we've got a longtime friend. We've got Susan Forma joining us today.
Been a while.
It's
been a minute.
face yoga. She talked about the X39 patches, but today we're talking about ERC, employee retention credit, so that there's still money available for those employers that had staff that kept their employees through COVID, that there's still tax credit available.
Now, you told me that the filing of taxes was extended to
February 15th.
because of the storm.
Correct.
And that's corporate and personal?
No, corporate filed September 15th.
Okay, but the personal. If you took an extension,
If you took
you're
an
going to get
extension-
another extension.
Correct.
So you're going to file twice in April if you have to. How does that work?
No, your 2021 taxes that should have been today was the day it was supposed to be filed by if you took an extension, was now extended till February 15th for the state of Florida because of the hurricane.
And what happens then for the next taxes? Aren't they doing April?
Yep.
So you'll be doing double taxes.
Well, hopefully you have your money put aside because it would have been due today. And you pay it between now and February, or today anyway, and then you go about April and April, which most people, if they took an extension, are going to take another extension. It's sort of...
But this is so funny because you took an
And
extension
there's
because you
another
weren't ready. Now you're getting a second extension.
Well, I think, I
And
know
then
we
you're gonna
took
take
our
another
extension
extension.
because we were waiting for K-1s to come in from corporations that didn't get to us in time. So we had to take the extension, which was supposed to be for today, and then we got extended.
I was just
anyway,
very confused.
There's always, but we also talked in the beginning of the show, Josh said that the loan forgiveness program is now open. Go on to wherever you pay your student loans, you put in your name, social security, phone number, whatever they ask, and you apply for it. Apply sooner rather than later, please. Get that information in.
I applied, and what they do is they take your information and then they let you know where you stand, whatever that means.
You applied for, as what, a parent paying loans?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm about to find out. But
Sorry, Lynn, that goes back to my why of the challenge out of the box. Let's do and see what happens.
But I'm setting it up because our next segment, you know, she thinks she's such a funny guy.
Sorry, because that is so you.
I'm setting it up because our next segment, if it's too good to be true, they tell you usually isn't, right? But if somebody does something, or offers you something, a piece of advice, something that makes it beneficial for you, all you got to do is apply, then you should do it. I'm not saying it's going to turn your whole world upside down or right side up or whatever the hell you need. But in this case, I don't know if I qualify. You don't know either. Nobody in here knows. Nope. But send it in, because the one with the finger on the button that says yay or nay is going to have to make a decision.
So let's chit chat with Susan. It's been a long time. Susan is like the serial entrepreneur in health and wellness. So when I reached out to her and I found out she was doing financials, I thought that's so different from what you were doing, but it's always about helping people and bettering them. So welcome back, Susan.
Yes, thank you so much. It's so nice to be here.
You just got to hold your mic.
No. There. How's that? Thank you so much. So
and now
nice
she's
to be
back.
here. Now I'm
Even
back.
better. What have you been up to? It's been, oh gosh, a good couple years since we've caught up with
Couple of
you.
years, yeah. Well, you know, I'm always into health and wellness, and as you recalled, I did heal myself of cancer in a natural way, which I'm proud of. So had an opportunity to walk the talk.
Congratulations.
Still doing my face yoga for anyone who wants to practice
Remember that.
exercising your face instead of doing toxic Botox or fillers or what have you. No judgment, but when it comes to options, as you were talking about, find a better way.
Find a
I'm
better
always
way.
about finding a better way, usually a healthier way. But recently, I became an affiliate for a company called Bottom Line Concepts. And I did so, my why, as I was listening to your presentation, my why is that I always want to make a difference to people. And what I see, especially for smaller companies, which is anywhere between 5 and 500 employees, there's an opportunity to get credit for all the loss they took during COVID. So that's what I've been up to.
Well, what is ERC? How do they get credit for this?
Yeah, so there is a fund. So basically, just stepping back for a moment, during the pandemic, they came up with 2 different funds to help employers that were staying open or that were continuing to pay their employees while there was the pandemic and the shutdown. And so as long as they were paying their employees, which was really great, it was magnanimous on their part, but also on the government to create this fund to support them. So they were paying them their payroll, despite the fact that they weren't working, and they were paying their health insurance, so they got compensated for that. So there were 2 funds that were set up. One was called the PPP, which is what most employers took advantage of, and that was the payroll protection plan. So they basically, the government gave them back money per employee based on their wages and everything, and most employees took advantage of that. But at the time, they also created something called the ERC, which is the Employee Retention Credit. Now, during the time that Trump was in office, the employers were allowed to take one or the other. Now, with Biden, the CARE Act got changed, and now the employers are allowed to take both. And so a lot of employers don't realize that that's available. So it's a tax credit. It's like a grant. It's not something that needs to be paid back. So it's essentially their money sitting there waiting to be claimed.
Now you say both. So you're going to get the money that you laid out for employees during the pandemic?
Yes. So both of those funds were created for that reason, to compensate the employer for paying payroll and also health insurance during that time.
So you get the money back, or is it a credit?
They're actually going to, with the ERC plan that I'm talking about, they're actually going to the IRS will send you back a tax credit, a check, which includes interest as well for that time period.
So if I owe $10,000 in taxes, will they take whatever the amount of money would be, apply it to that, and send you the difference, or does it work?
But you have to have had employees, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So there's a lot of different rules, and that's the whole reason why I want people to come and talk to one of the experts in this company, because there's so many rules that change really on a daily basis that it's hard to keep up with them. And that's another reason why a lot of people's accountants, they don't know all the rules, because they're not just focused on ERC. They have all the rest of their business that they're running. And so there's all kinds of qualifications. So what I know is that we've already helped over 20,000 companies and gotten over $2 billion with a B, dollars back for these companies. Now, some of them are large. And, you know, it all depends on the wages that they're paying them, the health insurance that they're paying. There's a lot of different things that I don't know about because I'm not an expert. But I work for the company that is a series of experts. So, but they will pay between $7,000 and $26,000 per employee.
Wow.
Sometimes that's per quarter. Sometimes there's, you know, whatever the qualifications are, we'll find out.
Well,
So-
it's safe to say that if you don't own taxes, if you're not paying taxes, it's safe to say that this will benefit you.
Well, I think any solopreneurs probably not, because you're a solopreneur. But any business that has employees, if you're able to get PPP money.
Hold on. How many minimum numbers?
So a minimum is 5 W-2 employees.
Okay.
So unfortunately for those
Anything under
companies
that
that have
doesn't qualify.
1099s, you know, there's different ways that they could qualify, but the what we're focusing on here is
W-2.
W-2. So
At
they have
least
to
5.
have at least 5 W-2 employees in the years 2020 and or 2021. Now, some companies that have gotten their money through the PPP, they still qualify for the ERC fund, but there's qualifying factors that go into play that the experts will tell you about, depending on what they paid out, what the payroll was, the wages, etc.
Yeah, because there's PPP companies that had less than 5 W-2 employees, and they qualify for different reasons. But in this particular instance, that credit is only given to 5 W-2 and above.
And above, yes, and under 500. If they have more than 500 employees, there's a whole other thing, but you know, they could talk about that as well to see the qualifications.
But that's interesting. You got nothing to lose by
Nothing.
calling this number if you have 5 employees that are W-2
Yeah.
and seeing where you stand. The worst thing is you're going to be in the same position you're going to be before you made the phone call, which is you're going to be in the position you're in now.
Exactly.
But if you get some money back, you know how many companies went out because they couldn't keep their employees?
A lot of restaurants, too.
Oh, yeah.
You
Lots of
can't run a
restaurants.
business like a restaurant with more than one hand. And Dawn has discovered you can't run our business unless you have more than one hand, because you can't be everywhere. Yeah, it's interesting. That's what we were talking about this morning. Being great and being better in 2 places. So if you have an opportunity, what's the phone number?
So the bottom line is that you could call me. And
No
what
pun
I'll do
intended,
when-
bottom line?
What?
No pun intended for bottom line?
Yes. So yes, exactly. Sorry. Yes, the bottom line is call me at 561-929-9800. 1627. And what I'll do is I'll take some information from you and I'll set up a time that you could talk to one of the experts. It's a 10-minute call, cost you nothing, and they'll let you know whether or not they see that you qualify and how. And then at that point, you'll sign some paperwork and they will step you through getting together this amended tax form. There's a lot that goes into that form. It could be hundreds of pages long. And you know how it is dealing with the IRS. I mean, God forbid you don't cross all your T's, dot all your I's. They're going to send it back and reject it. So with Bottom Line, we're going to make sure that we step you through the process so that you have the best opportunity to make that money. And we've been doing this for 14 years, since 2008. We have over 30 accountants and attorneys that work in-house. They do all their work in-house. We also have a direct link to the IRS, so for tracking purposes, where normal people, normal accountants, they have to call an 800 number and then sit in a queue, and you know how that is. You could be sitting online forever before somebody picks up the phone, if that. So we have a direct link so we could track it for you. And, if no money comes in, then nobody's any further along. If money comes in, then of course there's a small commission on the back end, but you don't even have to worry about that at this point. Let us qualify you, get the money back, and you'll be better off.
And what's the benefit of going with Bottom Line through the company you work with than just your accountant?
Yeah, because they know the ins and outs. Again, they've been focused since 2008 just on ERC. So ERC, or employer credits, have been around for a very long time. This one is specific to COVID and everything, but they know the rules. They're going to track it for you. They're doing the work in-house. They're a trusted company. There are a lot of companies that are pop-up companies that you'll find because there's billions of dollars sitting there. There's opportunity. So everybody starts jumping in and creating companies to get people to come with them. But they don't really have the experience that Bottom Line does. Bottom Line is the second largest company dealing in retention credits. We've dealt with companies like Miami Heat, big names. I got some names here that are in Florida, maybe you guys know of. Let's see.
How did you get involved with Bottom Line?
A friend of mine knows the owner and thinks he's a very trustworthy person, saw what they were doing, saw how they were helping companies, and offered me an opportunity to make a difference to companies as well.
It's really simple. If your accountant or whoever you use, whatever professional service, was not aware, because I'm not going to say they didn't know, was not aware of it, then why in the world would you ask them to do it for you? Why don't you just call somebody who is bringing it to your attention, let them work it out, let your accountant or whoever you're using learn from the experience, but at least you're going in the right way. Don't get a plumber to do your car. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me ask you, 2021 taxes have been filed already for corporations. The pandemic is officially over. How long is the window open to apply for this?
So there is a statute of limitations, so I'm glad you brought that up. So the statute of limitations is you have 3 years from the time that it occurred to be able to apply. So you have through July of 2023. So there's still some time.
It's amazing that you're the first person who's come forward with this. And it's been 2 years.
Yes.
So what I'm saying, if your accountant doesn't know or did not apply or was not aware, don't ask them to do this because they're going to end up having to call to find out something they didn't know. So this is probably the easiest way to learn and go. And the window is small, July will be like this.
You got about 9 months
Right.
left, so definitely you need to check this out and do all the paperwork.
It's important that you do that, yeah.
And just so you know, it does take, by the time you decide to come with us and start the paperwork process and everything, by the time it's between 4 and 6 months before you'll see your money, just because the IRS is, working on so many different companies.
I waited 2 years for a refund.
Oh, there you go.
What's 6 months going to do? 2 years.
Right. 6 months goes like that.
And if it wasn't for the hurricane, I wouldn't have gotten the money. The money pushed the federal government to send monies that belong.
Yeah.
And that money belonged. And
yeah.
Just
so
ridiculous.
it's a good thing. It's only a win-win. So please take advantage of it. Give me a call. I'll set you up with that conversation. And that's it. You go from there.
And the best number to reach you at?
561-929-1627.
Check it out. Susan Forma, ERC. Give her a call, 561-929-1627. Bottom Line? Bottom Line. All
And
right.
if you're driving or something, you can't pick up the number, just give us a holler as well. We'll make sure that Susan gets your information.
Absolutely. Imagine there's still money out there. I have to tell you, this is like a great world we live in, right? There's money going back to student loan forgiveness. We've got money coming back for COVID and
well, you
taxes.
know why we have inflation, right?
Because we're giving out all this money?
Because of all the money that
Just
they
means
gave
we're
out.
printing more.
But because they didn't want you to leave your house. They wanted you to stay home.
Here's the funny thing is, we don't even print the money anymore. It just gets transferred electronically. We don't even need the dollars anymore.
You don't need cash. It's all numbers by computers. But remember, they didn't want you to leave your house. They wanted you to stay home. COVID was running rampant. And they didn't want anybody walking around doing this thing. If you look at these football games and everything else, I wonder how it happened. Hello.
That Tennessee game.
But
oh my
everything
gosh.
they wanted, they got. They didn't understand that putting that much money out there was going to make things go upside down.
True. All right, we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, more of this Monday attitude of gratitude. 888-994. Here's your song.
I can't believe you're playing
4995 Studio A. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to AMP2 TV, the first and only internet production company that's truly plugged in. When you're looking for a full-service internet radio, TV production company, discover AMP2 TV. AMP2 TV is a full-service media company that can provide all streaming videos, video studios, radio studios, and television studios. Call us today at 866-224-5422, for no business is too small to grow to be accounted. It's time for your message to be seen. Let AMP2 TV help get you there.
Stephanie Jaffe is a world-renowned artist who creates one-of-a-kind pieces. Using a keen sense of color and composition, her vibrant collages and mosaics integrate eclectic elements such as vintage keepsakes and fine china with blown glass and fired clay to create whimsical arrangements. For more information about her work, come down to the Brooklyn Cafe TV studio or go to stephaniejaffeart.com.
Welcome to Lost Harbor Spirits, a world where pirates inspire our spirits, treasures remain undiscovered, and flavors are infused with the essence of mysterious voyages. The distillery became one of the few women-owned craft spirits production sites in the U.S. From our award-winning spirits of vodka and rum to delicious gin, we're always coming up with some new and exciting flavors to keep your cocktails delicious and fresh. Contact Palm Beach Distillery at lostharborspirits.com to take a tour or purchase your favorite spirit at your local liquor store.
Has someone in your family lost a job recently and now you can't afford your mortgage payment? Or do you have a rental property and your tenants aren't paying you? We can come to the rescue and pay you cash for your home immediately. Yes, sell your home and get cash all over the phone without dealing with real estate agents or having to waste time showing your home to lukewarm buyers. You don't need to lose your house to foreclosure. If you have equity in your home, we'll buy your home and give you cash within days, all in a simple over-the-phone and virtual process. Call now before your situation gets worse. Sell a home you can't afford or just need anymore and get the cash you need today. Call this number now.
Call 855-348-5925. That's 855-348-5925. Again, 855-348-5925.
Tax audits, tax liens, wage garnishments.
Every day we hear stories like this about good folks who are simply struggling to pay their bills. Each of them are living a frightening IRS tax nightmare, and they are afraid it will destroy their lives.
I'm a divorced single mom, and my ex-husband left me and the kids with a lot of unpaid bills, including unpaid taxes. I was really starting to show my stress on my kids because the IRS had sent me a letter demanding a huge payment from me. I couldn't afford it. So then the IRS was threatening to garnish my wages. I'm already living paycheck to paycheck. That would have put me over the edge financially.
It truly seemed hopeless, but then a friend at work told her to call the tax relief line.
The people at the tax relief line, they told me about something called innocent spouse relief. They worked it out so that all of the taxes from my ex are not my problem. I don't know how that works, and I don't care. All I care about is that I don't owe the IRS a dime, and they are not going to take my paycheck.
Even if it seems hopeless, you should call the number on your screen right now. There is absolutely no cost for the call or the consultation. You are under no obligation. If you are worried that the IRS could garnish your wages, seize your assets, even take your home, call us right now. The Tax Relief Line is here to help you. Now you have a knowledgeable, professional team of tax experts that are ready to negotiate with the IRS and fight for you to save you money. The Tax Relief Line's professionals have successfully negotiated thousands of cases, reducing and sometimes even eliminating the tax debt for their clients. It's very easy to get started. Simply call the number on your screen right now. You don't have to live in fear anymore. The call and the consultation are free.
When you wear Zamboni Couture, you can feel pride knowing that you are supporting a small woman-owned business. We advocate for women's empowerment and always embracing feminine freedom and equality. Our fashion is all about style, quality, passion, and color through the use of amazing fabrics to help you find your own individual style. Let us inspire you with beauty and color. Follow us at Zamboni Couture on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or call us at 561-860-6099.
You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
What are you eating? What is that?
Snack time, pirate booty. Today's National Pasta Day.
She's not eating pasta.
No, but today is National Pasta Day. The kids had mac and cheese, all kinds of stuff.
So I have a question that that I saw this morning, and I wanted to get people's opinion. And I was going to bring it up this morning at the morning show, but I forgot.
Okay.
So currently, there is a young lady in California that unfortunately was raped 5-6 years ago. And they ran a DNA test on her to catch the dude.
Yeah.
And they caught the guy. Guy went to jail. That story ended well. So apparently, the state level, not the federal level, because the federal level can't do this. The state level is able to keep your DNA on file. And apparently she did some kind of deal where she was involved in something illegal. And because of the DNA, they arrested her.
Yeah. Because they had it on file.
Because they had the DNA on file because of a rape where she was a victim. Which violates HIPAA and a whole bunch of other thingamajiggas.
Interesting.
So now she's filed and they had to remove it because of how they got the evidence. You know, there's a right way and a wrong way. And then there's their way. How they got the evidence that she was involved in this crime was through her DNA that was taken when she was raped as a victim.
Interesting.
So my question to you is, because, you know, if you did a swab, anything you've done, they have your DNA. How would you feel if the state of Florida was keeping your DNA on record and it pops up on anything you do in the future?
Well, they're saying that with those genetic tests that they do, 23andMe, there's some of the companies there are alleged that they keep them for things like that as well.
It's illegal, and it's going to go to the Supreme Court, because now this lady's very upset because she never consented to you doing that.
Well, if she did, she consent is the other question.
She did not. She was a victim, which if you're a victim, you would consent to almost anything. I'm a victim. You want to help catch this guy sign this paper? No, I don't want to sign that because I want the guy to walk around. Come on. So now she's suing for Latamula because she felt that her civil rights were violated. The federal government is not allowed to do it. It's the state level that's doing it. But how would you feel consenting or not consenting that they pick up your DNA and something else? Like, I don't know, they did a swab on you for something else, for COVID, let's say.
And had your DNA.
And they have your DNA.
Interesting question.
That's interesting because you mentioned 23andMe, but you are giving them consent, but you're not necessarily giving them consent to share that with anyone, are you? I don't know. That's an interesting
thing. There are companies
thing.
that sell your DNA now for other, it's going to come out on 60 Minutes because they went in on this one case and it exploded
Wow.
on how your DNA is very valuable. You know, your DNA is more important than your Social Security number. It's more important than your fingerprint.
I was just going to mention the fingerprint.
Your fingerprint, you can melt your fingers. You can melt
Yeah,
your
that's
fingerprints.
true.
Then they got to go dental. But your DNA, you can never, ever change.
No.
And then how you ask for or give permission for it to be used. COVID, they swap you. Whoop, now they have your DNA, and they send it to a
Wow.
special agency. And they can pick your DNA up over everything, over anything.
Interesting.
Does it violate your constitutional rights?
That's interesting. It could go back to past lives. Carry through the DNA.
I don't know. I think our
They
DNA
go
would
back
change.
a couple of 100 years or so, right? So, no, I don't think it does.
You don't?
No, I don't think it does.
You think our DNA from then is still?
I think so, yes.
you
Because you
imagine?
can go back through generations. Here, I mean, they do that, right? But you carry the same DNA. But if we're going to talk about past lives, which maybe we'll do on the show, we have our DNA, it's a bloodline with the same DNA, as I believe, anyway.
Wow.
I think it's amazing that DNA, everybody has a separate DNA, just like you have separate fingerprints.
Mhm.
And it's like hairline fractures, you know, the differences. And that two people don't have the same DNA, it just amazes me. Amazes me.
Interesting.
It is, isn't it? So you see, we might be related.
Can you imagine if they actually could check all that out?
Well, I was going to make a movie where two DNA people got together because they were investigated for two different things. And they were siblings at one time and separated at birth.
You should do it.
I was always thought about doing that. I took.
Talk to Lynn about that.
Making the book.
It would be really interesting to do that.
But the more people that I met, Lynn, because of you, they're talking about writing their experiences. They're talking about, we went to this concert Friday night, and JD was singing about her life.
Yep.
And she was putting music to her feelings. And that's really what a book is, putting your feelings into paper, right? It might be a nice segue to doing these things, people writing their manuscripts or books and things of that nature.
Yeah, it all plays in together. And writing is so therapeutic on top of that people who journal, you know, seem to have an easier time processing their stuff than people who don't. You know, there's a thing in psychology that says you'll either talk it out or you'll act it out. But I think I've said this before, that you can also write it out or act it out, because it's still that getting it out of you. And that's what writing is. Writing a book is getting your story out of you. And what I do with people is I take them deeper, so that they're not just writing a surface story. I'm taking them deep into who they really are. And then that is what comes through on the pages of the book. It's not just an edit function, it's actually a transformational journey. And I think I've mentioned that I have clients who laugh at me when I tell them that at the beginning, and then they're so blown away by the end because they thought they were telling the story of their transformation, but it was actually continuing while they were writing the book, because it's always continuing.
You
It's
know,
always continuing.
It's amazing because Michelle Obama on Facebook, they have a package, a box that came to her house, and she opens it and it's her book, Carrying the Light or whatever. And she talks about how the powerful now can relate in written form. And then the leader of China has a 500-page book that he gives to everybody in China that talks about their philosophy and why he does what he does for his country. It's like a Bible. He gives it to you, you read it. Like Mao Zedong used to do the same thing, and has his picture on there. And I'm beginning to evaluate now that people in power, yes, evaluate. People in power are actually writing more books because it lingers in the thought. It's like, why is the Bible so successful? Think about that for a second. It doesn't matter your religion. Just think about it. When you say the word the Bible, you know what it means. Well, you should know what it means, right? You may not have read it, but you know the book is there. People sometimes, I used to go to the library at NYU because I thought it made me smart.
It did. You
I
touched
just
the
sat
books.
there. I
Yeah,
touched
but
the
you
books.
felt- but it
I
made
put them
you-
around me. But it made me feel, man, I'm here. And I was a student there. And I said, you know something? Irregardless, I'm here. Everybody I grew up with was not there. And sometimes when you write the same book about what you think of, it turns you into a different human being. I mean, this is the way I've been seeing things going on since I've met him. I've seen more and more people come forward. Frank is blowing up Facebook with all his messages. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
What's interesting about writing a book is you don't have this dialogue between you and somebody else when they refute it. You write it. It's your story. You can either like to read it or not. But someone's not going this banter back and forth when you and I have a conversation. I disagree. You shouldn't say that. Or maybe you should say it this way. You write what's on your mind.
It could be as clever or not as clever.
Right?
You know, Dr. Seuss to me was a clever book because people read it. Now they say you can't read it because it has all sorts of things in it. I never read any of that.
Sally, are you finding different things as you're rewriting your book?
Yes, I am, definitely. We're doing quite good. I'm really tired at the end of talking to you. It's like I'm going back into my past. And it's interesting.
Are you changing things on the new book, or is it?
Well, we're adding much more to it, because my book was kind of a lot of how I was traveling to different places in my, quote, dreams. But this is more going into my background, how I was brought up, and then continuing after the book was
So
finished.
this is a
more
re-edit?
like a journal.
It's actually, yeah, mine was more like, it was like a documentary.
Yeah.
I mean, I was writing when I woke up what happened to me in my sleep. But I've learned a lot since then. We're going back 15 years when I did the book, so we're processing that now.
So it's a re-edit? It's not a new book?
It's what would you
It's
call
really
it?
a revision. We're calling it a second edition, basically.
A second edition.
Because it picks up the last 15 years. The original book was published in 2008. And so there are all kinds of aspects of Sally that didn't exist in the public eye back then.
Right.
So now we're bringing the story up to the current so that when they see her on Call Me Xena, they know who she is now. And because all that story has not been told yet.
Hey, she's a different person today.
Totally different
So
person.
everything, all the
yeah.
perspectives are different. Even maybe your mind thought is different.
And everything, because I've learned over the years, I'm learning all the time new things, and then I'll say, oh, that's why that happened then, but I'll realize the reasons for it today. And, 15 years is a long time in our time, so I've learned a lot. And I always thought that I would write another book, and again, I'm going to mention my guide. He, up until the day he passed and left here, he said there will be a second book, because I had learned so much more.
See, I was going to write a book, but if I write it today, I would disagree with everything I wrote.
Oh.
So I might as well just wait until I'm ready to. You should write a book. It's really funny. You always throw the worm at me that I should. Why don't you write a book? You have a lot to say.
I'm not good at writing,
to
though.
say. What?
I'm not good at writing, though.
Well, that's where I come in for people, because if you can tell a story, I can turn you into an author.
I can tell a story. I just
She
can't.
can write. No, she can write. I see some of the stuff that you write just for writing, commercials, script. What do you mean you can't write? You forgot how to the words?
No, to make it intriguing or interesting for other people
that's
to.
just self-doubt.
Well, it depends what you want it to be, but really it is if everything is energy, then so is writing a book. And when you're writing your book, you're creating the energy of the book. And the energy of the book is actually what draws people to your book for them to want to buy your book and read it. And so it's yes, there's a marketing aspect that happens later, but my belief is it's really about the energy that it is created and that is shared during the writing process.
I'm excited to see Sally's second edition.
Beautiful. I love the way he just said that, because I feel, we're very comfortable with this, and I feel it's the energy. I'm not blocking anything, and you're able to bring out, so it's like a partnership. It's working very well.
So when is the book going to be ready? Because now I want to read it. A couple hours?
Hopefully, we don't want to rush it, but maybe you'd say in a couple of months, Lynn?
I would say close to the end of the year.
Yes,
It'll take about 6 weeks to actually republish it once we get done, but we're we're trying to get as much information as we can. We're not rushing it. And it's just, we'll know, right? Sally will know
Right, yes.
when, okay, I
Is
don't
she
have
going
anything
through
more.
chapters now and rewrite? Or this is a whole new.
So we have these sessions where we meet, and we talk about, beforehand, we talk about what the topic's going to be, but then we could go anywhere, right? Depending upon where we're guided to go. But I'm always, let's go deeper into this. Let's get underneath it, because that's what people are fascinated by, is not just what you do, but why you do it. Where have you heard that before?
And even
right?
for myself, it's like self-discovery of myself. When we talk about this, and although these things happen to me, when I actually voice it and you're putting it on paper, I can see more than, perhaps what I really do see. It's incredible the depth of which we can go to.
See that? You didn't think you were going to be doing all of this. And you're getting married.
Oh my gosh, I hope I have enough time
15
here.
dogs.
Well, more to come. Tune in today at 3 o'clock for Call Me Zena. Call in with any questions right here at the studio. Write in on social media. Sally's going to be live answering questions with her collective psychic questions, connecting with the other side, or come into studio and ask them live. Always fun on Mondays.
Always fun on
And
Mondays.
then we have
Sorry I
a
missed
full
half.
night ahead of us. So come on down to the studio, some great music, some great shows, and a whole lot of fun. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Stay safe, and we'll see you in a little bit.
Don't be late. See you
Bye-bye.
later.
Well, that's about it for today. Even though the show's over, the Broken Cafe is always open for business. You're invited to join the fun every day from 12 to 2. If you missed some of the laughs from today, Dawn and Freddie S. will bring you more good cheer next time. You can follow the Brooklyn Cafe on Facebook at the Brooklyn Cafe TV to rewatch every minute of the show. We'll see you next time.